Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Not Content Podcast. My name is Jerome Cuson. Joining me, as always, is Brian. We are here to discuss and continue Woovember. We are going to be discussing his very first foray into American cinema, that being Hard Target from 1993, starring Claude Van Damme as well as Lance Henriksen, and taking place down in the bayou. As always, please leave a 4 or 5 star review to get those algorithms going, as well as YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Click the bell icon for notifications. And as mentioned, we are continuing November, and it has been a very heavily action month in November with The Running Man, the Sisu, which I literally just saw as we are recording this. So if I make a reference or two, don't be surprised. I won't spoil anything for the sequel. But Brian, I have to say, the first half of this movie was pretty punishing. Jean-Claude Van Damme does not work in a genre movie, and that is still true by the end of it. But when Wilford Brimley rides his horse and there's an explosion happening in the background, that is pure, unadulterated cinema.
I know, man. When I saw that back in September, because this is the second time I watched it on Tubi. Unfortunately, this month they took it off of Tubi, so I had to go a little deeper in the archives. Wink, wink. But I still found a good version. But yeah, that was the highlight of the movie for me. That and the snake, which we'll get to. Let's face it, folks. This script for Hard Target is not good, and it's written by Chuck Pfeiffer, who has a history of these kind of movies. Like he kind of wrote some of Sudden Impact, wrote Navy SEALs, wrote a little bit of Darkman, wrote a little bit of Barbed Wire, wrote a little bit of The Jackal. Are you seeing the pattern, folks? Arlington Road, Virus, Red Planet, all those '90s like action movies that have
He
like
probably
half
got
decent
paid
scripts.
extremely well to want to get to make those movies. I mean, there's a whole genre. I mean, he doesn't have to be good. He just has to be, somewhat
And a lot of
competent.
those movies are like half executed ideas too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it's because of this writer in particular where he can't just execute his ideas in the full. Because yes, this movie is about the
I
most
mean, but when
dangerous
he is
game.
screenwriting something like this, is this really about the dialogue, or is it about positioning the action scenes? What
That's the
does a
trouble. I think
screenwriter
he doesn't
do?
know the. I don't think he knows the balance. Because like, do you remember Arlington Road? That was the one about the neighbor thinking that his neighbor was a terrorist, right? And that should have been
I
a
have
great.
vague recollections of this movie.
Okay, well, I think that was the one with Jeff Bridges. I don't know. I feel like that's the one with Jeff Bridges, right? And it's just another half executed idea. We know Virus is definitely a half executed idea, right? If you remember
I
that
mean,
'90s
I think
debacle.
that what happened in genre has happened to so many directors when they make the transition from their from a foreign country to the United States. They have some
For sure.
difficulties,
Yeah.
and I think Bong Joon Ho, like again, I think that he has done some good work in America, but like when I get Mickey 17 is a movie that I really like, but it is very inferior to Parasite, and I think it's partially a language barrier. I think part of it is just producing something for America versus producing something for Korea, and in John Woo's case, producing something in Hong Kong versus producing something in the United States. Like the problem is he doesn't have a good script to work with here, and if you look at his work, he really doesn't ever have like a really good script. Face Off is probably his best one, and that is a very low bar because Face Off is all about Nicolas Cage and John Travolta being Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. So this is just a very strange movie in a lot of ways. I think Jean Claude Van Damme, like I get why you cast him, like I totally understand it, I get it, but boy, oh boy, did I struggle with his performance. Like it just like what Chow Yun Fat is giving you so much, Tony Lung gives you so much, and Jean Claude Van Damme does not give you anything.
That's the trouble, man. That's the trouble with this movie. It's like they try to make him more of like a Clint Eastwood type, right? The man with no name coming into town, although he's kind of known in the town. And I don't know. I'm guessing they probably put it in New Orleans on purpose in order to tie in the fact that he's half French, or the character's half French, and that he's actually Belgium in real life. But so they can, so it makes the accent acceptable. You know what I'm saying? Because he's half French,
Somewhat
right? He's in
acceptable.
the bayou, so then it just sounds it's okay. We can just get away with it, right? Even though he sounds nothing like a New Orleans person, and when he's talking French with Uncle Brimley, It just sounds so ridiculous because like at least Wilford Brimley has the right like tang or like the accent for it,
He's going for it. Like he is. I don't know if his
and then
accent is good, but he's going for it.
at least he sounds American New Orleans, French New Orleans, and then Van Damme is just doing a Belgian accent. So it's just like, oh, come on, man. That's that. I don't know. They try to get away with it, and didn't really get away with
It's
it.
straight. It's a baffling movie in some ways.
And then we got an issue with the antagonist, and this is an issue that I brought up with Jerome. So there's two antagonists, uh, Lance Henriksen and the Mummy
Who's the best
himself.
part of this movie? Like, if you are,
Oh yeah,
do not go into this movie looking for an acting performance, but if you're going to get one, you're going to get one from him. He does a hell of a job.
yeah, he understood the assignment. And the other one is Arnold Vosloo, who of course is the Mummy. But if you just kind of watch this movie from like or read the kind of script from like an outsider's perspective, it seems like they have the same character, and they are the same character. And there was no need to be two different characters when they're doing the same nasty things. It was just like they needed some extra like dialogue, and they give it to this other character when they didn't need to. It's like, oh, we can't have him play piano and be a badass at the same time, like killing people. I don't know. It was so weird because they were just two of the same character, and they had no reason to be two antagonists in this movie. Right? It could have just been Lance Henriksen. I have no idea why Arnold Vosloo is in this.
I mean, I'm
Like,
not against the idea of having a sidekick in this movie, but like there has to be like a differentiation between the two. I think that's part of the issue. Is like there's
I don't
no.
know. Like, it seems like they're equal, but they're not equal, and they
It's
get into
really.
fights, but
I
they're not
mean, to
like
me,
insulting
it
each other.
almost feels like you have like Lance Henriksen can't do the way they position it. It's like, oh, Lance Henriksen can't do the action scenes, but then he does the action scenes in the end.
Or they
Like
just
is
save
it
him for
just
the
like
end
they
because he can't
did
really
it?
perform. I don't know, but Vosloo does bring that physical size to the role where he's like
I
stabbing
like
people.
him. I think he's fine, but I mean, again, to me, the issue Jean Claude Van Damme to me is the issue. Like he is the problem with this movie because again, like the last half hour is really good, and he's good in it because he doesn't have to talk anymore. Like the talking stops, and he just gets to kick people in the nuts, and that's good. But the problem is when you really start to like break down everything else about his performance, it falters big time.
I like the hair though. I think that's fits this
He,
character that they're
he
trying
is
to go
he is
for.
he is going for it.
Yeah, I like the coat, but again, it's the accent that throws things off, and then he's trying to be like this hero at the beginning. But we don't really know his background too much, other than he beat up his last boss, which is I can relate to that. But um, in this case, like it just feels like I don't know. It's a Van Damme vehicle, and there's nothing you can do about it other than work around it, and that's the job you got to do. And that's unfortunate for John Woo because it really limits him in what he can do. Because you really need a John Woo melodrama needs the melodrama, and this doesn't accomplish that at all. Lance Henriksen's landing some of that in some of these scenes with the piano and bringing in these
Yes,
people to hunt the
the
game, the
piano,
rich
of
people.
course. You
Yeah,
get a lot of jazz. I also want to point out how
yeah.
can I point out how racist this movie is?
About killing the two black characters like back to
They
back.
literally killed the two black characters back to back, and it's like in the first half of the movie, and I'm like, what are we doing? Why? Like it was bad enough with the guy. Like I got it. Like I understood it. Like I was like, okay, not great, but I can understand. Like you're clearly positioning Jean Claude Van Damme to be the main protagonist, and he has a reason to like get revenge now. And it's like, okay, so we're gonna kill this guy. You do it in dramatic fashion. Like he makes a good show of it. I actually think that's where the movie really starts to pick up. It really feels like we're adding that pathos into this. We're making this into something a little bit better than like a schlocky B movie, like which it still is, but we're elevating it just a little bit with that scene in the cemetery, and we're starting to move things around a little bit, and you're getting into it, and then they shoot the cop, and I'm like, oh my god, we really killed both black characters back to back scenes. Like it's just it's fucking ridiculous, man. Like be better, just be better. And I feel like this would not happen in 2025. I just don't feel like that would happen.
I
But
think the
it
female
is
cop would have lived at the end and shot some people up to get some
probably
revenge. I think
he
like
probably
that,
joins up.
and
She
she
joins
probably
up with
should
him.
have. Like that character didn't need to die, right? She was just like a pawn, not even a pawn. It
No,
was
I mean
just
the
like
pathos is gotten from the guy. which is weird,
And I
but
think
it's
I
fun.
think they should have just focused on the theme of like the poor getting fucked over, and that was like the initial theme of the movie. These poor people getting
But
used by
John
these
Woo
rich
doesn't
people and
have
being
the.
hunted.
I don't think John Woo has the ability to. Like, I don't think that's his strength. Like, if Bong Joon Ho was doing it, then he would get it and it would be fine. But
Yeah, that's the thing.
it's
Is
really
like
weird.
he's good at like bromances and themes like that and betrayal and stuff like that. But like when it comes to like poor people and getting, poor people getting, assassinated for the fun of it because it's sport now to these rich, hunters. It's an interesting concept. Of course, it sounds like the Running Man, but um, I just don't understand how they were getting away with it so easily until like Van Damme just started noticing things or something like that. Or actually, it's probably the woman that came into town looking for her dad. That was the instigator of the whole thing. But I don't know. I just felt like they were just getting away with this, and then they were just killing. They killed that black dude, by the way, in the middle of Mardi Gras, it looked like, or something. And
I
there's
mean,
just
I
like
think that's
people
just a
around, and
typical
yet,
Saturday night on Bourbon Street.
but not even that. Like the aim was so good that he only got shot and no one else got shot. You know what I mean? And like everyone ignored it and thought it was just a homeless, homeless killing each other or something. I don't know. It was. I get what they were trying to go for, and like the idea of like us regular folk pushing the homeless away, assuming they want change or something like that. And that's where we got that Ted Raimi cameo, which I marked out for. Uh, but I get what they were trying to go for. But unfortunately, John Woo is not that type of director. At least in America, like the cultural differences prevent him from accomplishing these goals. But I guess we can focus on the positive part, right? It's just the last 30 minutes where
The last 30
essentially it's in a
minutes
factory.
absolutely saved this movie. It redeems
Yeah,
the
it's a
movie almost
factory.
completely.
It's very much like Hard Boiled, where you get that sense of the location, and everything
Yep.
just got to bust around and
As soon as I
explodes.
saw it, I was like, okay, this now business is picking.
Right. And it's unfortunate because usually in a John Woo movie, you're intrigued by the first act and the second act because of the melodrama, right? You don't get that, but it's like kind of you're hanging on by a thread, and once all this starts clicking,
Yeah.
I would say the moment when he punches the snake is when things start picking up because I was just like, it seemed like he was going to kiss the girl, and then all of a sudden he grabs a rattlesnake. Not only does he grab it, he punches it, and there's a punch sound, by the way, like a sound bite. Knocks the snake out, proceeds to bite the rattler off, and then goes, "I'm going to leave a little something for our friends." And then the fucking snake attacks and kills some dude like
Yeah.
15 seconds later. So it was just like, what? I mean, it's ridiculous, but I guess for what they're going for in the early '90s, and it's a Van Damme movie, but if I were to recommend a Van Damme movie for the acting, I'd actually recommend Sudden or Double Impact, the one where he plays his own twin. That's actually him actually doing a good job because he actually differentiates the two brothers really well. And he doesn't really get a lot of credit for that movie. And that has also has Bolo Young, and I think that kind of executes better than this movie in the plot department. But he does have those capabilities. You know what I'm saying? It's just this role inhibits him. So I don't know if this
Yeah,
idea of making him
this is not Jean
Cajun
Claude. This is
holds
not
him
his strength.
back, or maybe making an American holds him back. I don't know.
The less he speaks, the better. I think is generally like because he comes from like okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, they are like the A+ action stars, and Jean Claude Van Damme and Chuck Norris are kind of like in that B tier. And what ends up happening is that you get movies like this that can work, but anytime he opens up his mouth, it's bad. Like he did an Amazon show that I actually think was pretty decent. So I think he would actually play like in some ways his acting would probably be better if he did this now, but obviously like the action stuff would not be as good. Like to me, someone like Keanu Reeves probably like present day Keanu Reeves probably does this role a lot better because I do think you would get you would get some of that melodrama. Like I do think that John Wick does have enough of that that the more that I see John Woo, the more John Woo I see in John Wick, and I think it makes a lot of sense. But I think for me, this movie is a mess, but I think it very much gets redeemed. Do you remember what do you know Yancey Butler from? Like what when you associate her with something, what do you associate her with?
The end credits of The Simpsons. I could be wrong on that, right?
I mean, maybe like do you remember the TNT show Switchblade?
No, but I swear
Witchblade.
to
I'm
God, I
sorry,
think Yancy.
Witchblade.
Well,
Witchblade.
Witchblade. I do
Yes,
remember that because I think they were promoting it during the Nitro days.
it's certainly
My
possible.
timeline might be off on that,
That
but
is
that
what
sounds
I associate her with the most.
Okay,
which
so
is not great.
I think okay, so you're talking about the main actress, right? I don't know where I've seen her from either, but I think it's. I swear, I
She
think she's
has
in
a
a horror movie with
very,
cats.
very recognizable face.
Okay, because I think she's in. Yeah, I think she's in this horror movie that I'm trying to remember that I saw as a kid, and I can't remember, but I think it was one of the
Yeah,
Stephen
a
King
lot of
movies.
strange choices. But I mean, like to me, I think this is a movie that ultimately works in the end because of the action scenes, and you get just enough of that. And like, if it wasn't for the action, like the movie just would work, and that's kind of okay, I guess. I mean, like I
So,
didn't
I mean,
regret watching it, but I'm not gonna
basically,
be like
if
super excited
if
either.
we're gonna recommend this, it's just the last 30 minutes. Well, actually, maybe I think it's
I mean, the
32
thing
minutes.
is
Maybe.
like I mean, you do have to watch the rest.
I mean, do you? I mean, I think you could just do a quick summary of the first 5 minutes and like just tell someone to watch the
Go read
last 30.
Wikipedia or whatever.
I mean, I think it'd be more an enjoyable experience because, like, I know this sounds crazy, but I think in ninth grade when we were studying South Africa, we watched the movie Cry Freedom, right, with Denzel Washington. We didn't
Okay.
watch the other half of the movie after he died because my teacher was like, "It's irrelevant, and no, it's no longer about him. It's about this white guy. So we're not going to even watch the rest of the movie." So I was like, "Oh," because then I rented it later on, and I was like, "Oh yeah, he was kind of right. It got boring after that." So I can kind of recommend the last 30 minutes of this and just say, forget it. Read the Wikipedia in 1 minute and just watch the last 30 minutes all action because that's essentially what this becomes. I mean, there is the one part where he's on the motorcycle where he does a flip. He's standing on a motorcycle vertically and shooting. I mean, it's real. It's not CGI,
This movie
so
does,
it looks
and
cool.
that's the thing about
It's
these movies. Like when I watch them now, it's like it's so much more impressive to me because I know they're actually doing it, and it like adds this air of authenticity. And plus, so many modern movies look like shit now. So when you're watching something like this and it actually looks like they're in the place that they say they're in, that also makes a difference. It's really strange. Watching
uh,
movies in these days
yeah,
is
that's
really
the
strange.
perfect transition to that keys that I left off last week with Lance Henriksen doing a whole bit of dialogue while on fire, Jerome. Now tell me that wasn't cool.
I mean, it was incredible. I mean, it's probably one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
I know, and it happens in such a B level movie too. It's like so random, but like I don't know. It's magic, folks. And I don't know if it's because he slows the frame rate down just slightly, just so you can see that he's actually on fire. And then that last bit when he takes the jacket off and throws the jacket, the jacket is still on fire in the background on top of this
I
platform. So it was
I
like,
think that's. I mean, you have to slow. You have to if you're going to put your actor or your stunt double through that. You have to slow it down.
yeah. And I'm just impressed that Lance Henderson actually did it. And I saw the behind the scenes footage of this after I saw the movie back in September. And he just was like, I'm willing to do it. He was a big fan of John Woo, so he was excited to do the role, and you can tell he was like really like engaged with the role, and like the fact that he lit himself on fire and did that bit of dialogue is just so epic. It's one of those I don't know if it's kind of a lost scene in Hendrix's work because everyone knows him so much for Aliens and other stuff as well. Like I would say this, people remember him more as the Undertaker in The Quick and the Dead than they do in this. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
So, and I think that's true because I think Quick and the Dead has become more of like a popularized commercial TV movie than this movie, obviously. Because Hard Boiled or Hard Target is never on TV, like never. And like the first time I watched it was in September.
I'm so curious as to why this feels like. I mean, maybe this was on when we were not like hyper aware, but this is the kind of movie that feels like it should be on TNT and PBS forever. Like movies for guys who like movies, like this is like the pinnacle of that, and
Yeah, I mean, if we're still
it's
playing
a
like
strange
all four
movie.
Lethal Weapons in a row on a marathon, like this feels like it fits in that wheelhouse. I
I
don't know
mean,
what it
but
is.
Mel
I don't know.
Gibson, for all of his faults, is still a bigger star. Lethal Weapon's still a bigger franchise. Like that has to be part of it as well.
Yeah, it's weird because like I know Face Off gets more playtime, but not nearly as much too now. But this movie in particular just didn't feel like we've ever seen it when we were kids on TV. Like a lot of action movies, you think you would.
No, this is not like Terminator 2. I know is on all the time. Terminator 1 was on
Predator,
all the time.
Running Man,
Predator, Running Man. Yeah, I mean a lot of those Arnold and Stallone movies, like all the Rockies. Think about every
but then again, we got
holiday
Bloodsport
season.
like all the time too. So it's not like it's anti like a John Claude Van Damme thing.
But I think
Just think,
Bloodsport is kind of its own thing. Like I think that movie is like in terms of like that genre, that's probably like peak Jean-Claude Van Damme in so many ways because of what that movie represents. I mean, you can't forget whose favorite movie it is either. Like, I don't know, maybe that plays a part in it, but it's different. Like, if you're going to play one Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, it's probably going to be that one, not Street Fighter. So yeah, I mean, I think that might be part of it.
And the
Again,
other
I
thing
don't
too
know
is
about
like, did you notice the squibs, right? Because we know that squibs is the thing where they have the blood capsules and it's like a simulated gunshot. We know that's like a calling card for
which
John
I have
Woo.
to tell you, I so prefer the fake blood as opposed to the digital blood. It makes a huge difference. And
Definitely.
all I'm going to say is, in the Sisu sequel, it is very clear that the blood, not real blood, but like you know what I mean, like it's actual liquid. It makes a huge difference in that movie. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and I think I mean, there were squibs in this movie for sure, but I don't know. It just felt like there were darker colors to cover it up from a like a costume standpoint. And I think they were
I
trying to
mean,
like
that's
not
what you
make it
can
as
kind of
violent.
do. Like that's the whole intention is like you
Yeah,
you compensate, you hold some of the blood back or something. Like there's always ways
yeah, and
of
that was the one thing I noticed because I was
managing
like,
it.
this is definitely like a John Woo movie, like the last 30 minutes for sure. But it's
Oh,
the
this
squibs. It's definitely the
yes.
squibs that was like, ah, I wish it was just a little bit
I mean, there
bloodier, and
was a
everyone
dove.
was
There
wearing
were there
white.
were doves. Don't forget the doves.
Oh yeah, there were doves and pigeons. There were definitely some pigeon shit when it shit on that one dude. I don't know how they got that to go on, but they must have just thought like, let's just randomly have this pigeon shit on him and then distract him, and then Van Damme's gonna blow him up, and that's exactly what happened.
I mean, that's
But
cinema right
yeah,
there. I mean,
yeah,
that is John Woo in a nutshell. Like,
and then
I mean,
and then
that's the thing
Wilford
is like,
Brimley. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead, Wilford Brimley, go ahead.
Well, the big finale for me is Wilford Brimley. You think is dead, and then it turns out he's saved by his alcohol can. So that was just like, yeah, sure. I mean, he stabbed him, or he got shot in the leg. I'm sure that's not killing him right now as it is. Thank God he didn't hit an artery or anything. But
Decisions were made.
yeah, and they just walk out, and it's just very funny too. Like when I saw Running Man, the new one, the other day, and I saw the Michael Cera character, I was like, he's just like Wilford Brimley in Hard Target, and it's like the same thing, dude. Like
Yes, except
anti-establishment,
except
anti-authority.
this movie had a sense of humor, and the Running Man didn't.
Oh,
Like,
I was laughing at Running Man. Me and my buddy were
it
laughing.
that movie was not. Oh, I hated it so much.
That's a discussion for another day, folks.
That is another. Yes, that is a completely separate discussion.
But yes, overall 6 out of 10 for me, and I'm being nice about it only because
Yeah, I'm
it
with
has
you.
its memorable moments, but it's definitely like you got to struggle for that first hour to get to the good stuff. And yeah, because then Jean Claude Van Damme is not talking in the last 30 minutes as well. So there you go.
What saves it. Speaking of talking, we're gonna get a whole lot of talking from John Travolta acting like Nicolas Cage and Nicolas Cage acting like John Travolta, face off a true '90s B classic, I would say.
With A-list players, which is weird to say as well, but because at the
I
time I
mean,
think
this is his best American movie, right?
I guess so, but I just felt at the time when I was a kid that this felt like a big, not a big deal, but like a big adult movie for the adults at the time in the
Yes,
90s.
I would agree with
If
you.
that makes sense. And then once I saw it later on, I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then I watched it again later on, and it's like, this is ridiculous, but man,
It's a
there's
B
just
movie.
something weird about it that's kind of
That's the
charming.
thing is like it is a big movie because Travolta and Cage were not quite at the. I mean, Travolta was kind of on his second wave. Pulp Fiction had come out 2 years earlier. Nicolas
And
Cage is
Cage
coming off
just
his
won the
Oscar.
Oscar. Yeah.
So you're talking about two guys who are, if they're not in the prime, they are kind of peak-ish, and I think that makes a huge difference. I think that adds to the perception. I mean, I think you do have John Woo. The way he shoots things makes it feel more important. So that's why this felt like an adult movie. When you saw it when you were 11 or 12, this is a soft R movie, right? Like this is not a hard R, like super violent. Like there is some
Yeah,
violence
and
and
then
some language.
it gets really creepy at certain parts because we know it's like the
Right. It
sexual
gets creepy, but
thing
like
with because of the face switch.
I consider this like a soft R. Like Terminator 2, I would also call like a soft R because it's like it has a couple gnarly moments, but it's not super violent.
Right. It's so weird. Well, we'll talk about it one day because the surgery scene is like really memorable for me because it's like so real the way they do it because there's no
I
CGI.
mean,
But
it's one of the last times you would see some. Like now they would just do CGI, and it
I
would
know, and
ruin the
it's
movie.
just the way that they cut. We'll talk about it because I got to look it up on the makeup effects side, but they obviously used real. I don't know what they did, but it's almost as if the weapons. Then that scene with weapons with the potato slicer, right? You don't get that much anymore. So that's what I thought of, making that
I
little
mean,
connection
that's
there.
the thing. It's like there's something to be said for doing the authentic thing, and you don't get enough of that now, and it's a huge problem.
Yeah, that's for sure. And one thing I do love about Face Off as well is the ending, and we'll talk about that because I love emotional, happy endings, right? And Nick Cage has two of them in my mind, this and Con Air. So we'll talk about
I
that next
mean,
week.
he had his '90s run is quite memorable, and I don't think people really think about that. Like
I mean,
Nicolas
if you
Cage,
really think
like
about it, he's co-starred in a movie with Sean Connery in a movie that was originally scheduled to be a Bond sequel. Dude, did you know that?
I did not, but I could see it.
It's because that's the theory that he's Bond, but they never got the rights and they had to change it. That's the theory.
Welcome to the Rock.
We'll talk about that one soon too if we want to.
At some point, we may have to do something Michael Bay related, I guess. But for right now, we are going to be ending the podcast. Next week, we will be climaxing Woovember with Face Off, and then it will be Christmas season, and we will be doing episodes for the podcast, and we will be doing YouTube exclusives. We will be covering the new canon, basically movies that we feel should be part of your regular Christmas rotation. And then there are going to be the movies that maybe don't make the cut, and we'll be getting into all that. I'll be very excited. I'm very excited for all 8 movies we're discussing for December.
And just really quick, you texted me this morning, or was it yesterday morning? Bob Cottle, rest in peace, 95 years old, big bucket of win.
Yep. He is extremely well known for his time in Mid Atlantic and NWA. So yeah, hope for the best for his family. 95 is a very very long time.
Yeah, he got to go out in a high note. I think 95. I think is something to be proud of when you die. To be honest.
Absolutely. All right. So for Brian, I'm Jerome. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you again next week.